What's up, guys? YGO coming at you with a side deck guide for Blue Eyes decks. A little later than I wanted to, but I'm lazy, so oops. But without going any more delays, we're going to get right into the side decking guide for the Blue Eyes deck. I'm going to lay it out the best cards in my opinion first, then I'll go into some of the less optimal side deck cards, depending on your budget. This is not every possible side deck card, but it's the ones I have, and it's a healthy stack, so let's get right into it. So, starting things off, we got Mistake. Blue Eyes searches plenty with things like Melody of the Awakening Dragon, Sage, White Stone of Legend. Plenty of searching going on, plenty to stop. Mistake is always a good side deck card to have. We've also got things like Chaos Trap Hole, which will negate the summon of pretty much every monster in their main and extra deck. I don't know of a single non-light or dark monster that they play, so, and if there are any, there's so few that this will stop everything in the deck anyways. Highly recommend it. We've also got Allied Justice Cycle Reader. Banish 2 light monsters from your opponent's graveyard, and you can do it on their turn. So when they send 2 monsters with Dragon Shrine, go ahead, banish them both. Don't let those stone effects go off, all that fun jazz. Or just don't let them play Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Side deck Allied Justice Quarantine. Neither player can special summon light monsters, and it's essentially just draw a middle finger on it, because that's what you're doing to the opponent. It's just a great big bird. So fantastic side card against them. And then finally, Light Imprisoning Mirror. Negate the effects of light monsters on the field or in the graveyard. Really screws with their stones and their spirit plays and all that jazz. So these are my top 5 two-sided against Blue Eyes. Now let's get into the suboptimal ones. Starting things off, we're going to look at Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Not the best side deck card, certainly not the most budget right now, but it is good to pick up for things in the future like ABCs as well, so it's not a bad card to have in your back pocket. For Blue Eyes, there isn't one clear target to hit with Cherries, in my opinion. Spirit's the obvious choice, but that doesn't stop them from playing Dark Matter Dragon, which sets up their graveyard. And they can still technically make Azure Eyes, which is a real pain after they've done things like Dark Matter dumping in the graveyard. So, Azure Eyes is a good target in my opinion. Spirit Dragon's a good target. Dark Matter Dragon's a good opinion. It's a good card in my opinion. So, not the best side deck card for Blue Eyes, but not the worst if you have it and you really want to validate that like $20 you spent on it. Yeah, go ahead, play that. But if not the best choice. In terms of the searching, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are other things you can do to stop searching. Mind Crush will hit the card they search, so you can snipe the alternative from their hand outright, so they can't really play it. Not the best option, but it will also let you look at their hand, which can come in handy. I don't know if that's a pun or not, but also Droll and Lockbird. Once they get one search off, they can't search anymore, so if they Sage that turn, they can't Melody, they can't do vice versa, that sort of thing. Can definitely interrupt their plays. Or outright just Thunder King, which is just Mistake on legs. Don't let them search. Other things we can do, like I said, for Effectigation, Veiler that Sage, which is not bad, and Breakthrough Skill that Sage, which is not bad. Or the alternative, don't let them pop your monster. Both these cards have common reprints in structure decks. Breakthrough Skill was in the Lightsworn structure deck, as well as the Felgrand structure deck, which just came out recently. And I think actually it was also in like the Gear. I think it was in one more. Can't promise you that though. But it is for sure in the Lightsworn and in the Felgrand structure decks. And Veiler was the common reprint in the Synchronic Stream structure deck. So they should be very accessible to you at your local shop or whatever. Or if you just want to try those decks, go ahead and buy them and you'll get a copy for your side deck. Never bad. For special summons, we can always side Vanities in. Never a bad choice. If you want a tiny little Vanities on legs, you can side in Fossil Dyna. Or if you want a big beefy one, you can side in Vanities Fiend. They all do the same thing, just with varying requirements. One's a tribute, one has lower stats, and one will die when anything else dies. So use that as you feel is required. You can also side in Majesty's Fiend. This guy is pretty budget. He got the super rare reprint that I'm using right here in the Megatins from 2015, so he shouldn't be too cheap at all. Again, just for those budget players. So other things you can do if you don't want to play Allied Justice Cycle Reader, DD Crow is essentially the same thing. It only targets 1 card instead of 2, but it doesn't have to be a light monster. But this is Blue Eyes, so this will just hit the stone instead of stone and something else. Whether or not you feel it's more worthwhile one way or the other is all up to you. Other things you can do, Transmigration Prophecy. If you're you should play Psycho Reader over this, but I mean, it could be funny if they foolish 2 cards and you shuffle them right back in the deck, you know, with Dragon Shrine. That could be like, well, that was kind of pointless, but not the best choice. But again, I'm pretty sure this is a cheap card. I haven't looked at it. I just have it from something. I don't even know what. I think it's from a structure deck. Probably the Dark World one, if I'm not mistaken. Other things we can side, I got 6 more here, and they're all pretty meh at this point, other than maybe the Kaiju. You can side in, you know, Gameciel, just to get rid of their big beefy dragon and give them a turtle, and then run over the sea turtle. Not a bad card. You can also side in more of a Kaiju engine if you want. Potentially, you know, you can put in Interrupted Kaiju Slumber and some bigger, beefier Kaijus, but overall, this one's the go-to for sure. Just side in, give them a sea turtle, as always. Other things we can do, Soul Drain is not an optimal side deck card, but it exists, and it's at 1. It'll stop the stone plays from going off for sure. They won't be able to activate Ancient or Legends. Just negates all effects that activate in the graveyard and the Banish Zone. Not too optimal against Blue Eyes, I wouldn't recommend it, but technically you can. Other things we can do, we can go Grand Horn of Heaven and Black Horn of Heaven. Both of these got reprints in Premium Gold, Infinite Gold, so they're pretty cheap. And I mean, even this one was core, or Dimensions of Chaos, it was common, so they're cheap and they'll stop the inherent special summon, so it's not a bad side deck card in that regard. And again, for the budget players. Finally, we're going to go with Chain Disappearance, which is stops a stone play, potentially. You know, if they summon stone, you activate this and then banish all the stones in their deck. Or banish all the sages. Can kind of screw over their synchro plays for that turn, potentially. Not the best, but I guess not the worst either. And then, I really shouldn't include that. Tiger King Wengu. Wang, no, absolutely not. I was just going through the cards looking like what's decent for siding, and I was like, well, Sage has low attack, we'll throw this in. But I mean, you won't negate the Sage, so like the Sage goes through and like it'll just put the stones in the graveyard for them, and then they'll summon a 3000 beat stick and run it over because it only has 1700 attack. So absolutely do not side Tiger King Wengu. But we're already making the video and it's too late to go back, so if you're looking at like, I really need a level 4 monster with 1700 attack for siding my Blue Eyes, I can't find a good one, let me tell you, my friend, Quarantine. Level 4 1700 matches it in all ways. That's all the cards I have. I don't have my on hand a Kokai Miru Drago. Drago is essentially Quarantine, but with bigger stats and requires you to reveal a dragon type monster or it's destroyed. So it's really best in the mirror match, but Quarantine's better for the overall for the people who don't main deck dragons. And then finally, I'm told, I think it's Magical Reflector, a trap card, a spell card that would target one player and now targets another. Can be really cheeky in the mirror match because they play like trade-in and discard a Blue Eyes, but you chain that and then it targets you instead, so you draw 2 cards off their trade-in. I'm not 100% on that ruling, but if that's true, that's a dick move and I highly recommend it. More so to see the look on their face when you have to call for judge and then hopefully the judge knows or everyone looks it up and goes, wow, you're a dick. But, you know, instead of Tiger King Wengu, play a Magical Reflector. So, fuck this card. And yeah, that is the side deck guide for the Blue Eyes. Again, going over my top 5, it's Quarantine negates the summons, Mistake negates the searches, Chaos Trap Hole negates the summons, Quarantine messes with their graveyard, and Light Imprisoning does not let their effects go through. These are my top 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead, leave a comment about what sort of video you'd like to see us make, another side deck profile guide, all that fun stuff that we love to do here at YGO Strats. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time on YGO Strats.